about this. I know we've worked with this quite a bit. We've talked about that's your taxable income table for this current year. So if you have to file taxes, this is the tax table it's based on. Okay, so let's get a couple of things that that are going to make sense. So what did I say? What does the standard deduction do? What does the standard deduction do? Yes, it lowers your taxable income. So basically, so the IRS, kind of a big organization. We don't really like the name, but it is what it is. They have found that if somebody were to keep every receipt and show all of the things that they've paid in taxes, they feel that they can capture a large percent of the United States to be that they would have paid roughly $31,500 in taxes on some sort in a year. And this includes your, if you went over to, I don't know, your favorite place to go out to eat with your friends, there's a small tax that you would have had on your food and your drink. Okay? So the tax that you pay, what they want to do with standard deduction is they don't want you to be taxed on something that you've already paid tax on. That makes sense. Okay, so basically it's a way to encourage the general public to do the short form. Now there are other things that you can add to the short form that goes on top of the standard deduction as well. Okay? One of the big ones for people, if they have a mortgage, bless you, they have a mortgage on their house, there is taxes you pay for the property taxes of your home that can add on top of it. So let's increase this a little bit more to some things that we can do. So let's just for fun. Would somebody look up average property tax in Arapahoe County? Average property tax in Arapahoe County. I think most of us would live. I don't live in Arapahoe County, but bless you. 0.55 to 0.70. So 0.55. Well, let's just use this. Okay, we'll just go with the. So we have one, so we don't have to go figure out the schematics. Knowing that it could be a little bit more, but let's go with that. So basically, that means that if you had a home, and let's take a home in Arapahoe County. Let's say you live in a home that is $750,000. I'm just coming up with a value. Okay, so if you were to, and this is percent. Okay, so in order to make a percent a true decimal, I'm going to make this 0.0055, and I'm going to multiply that times the 750,000. You know, I'm not saying that some of you don't live in that type of home, and that's fine. Some of you might live in something larger, and that's fine as well. I just wanted to have a ballpark. So this basically comes out to $4,125, meaning you can, on your taxes, because you paid that property tax on your home, whether you owned your home or you were still financing it, you still have to pay the taxes on it. Now, there might be some other things. There might be also a city tax. So if you live in Aurora or Greenwood Village or Cherry Hills or wherever you might live, there's also a city tax. But I mean, we can really go down. The nice thing is, when you go do your taxes, you are going to be sent a form by the city and the county both, and it's going to say how much you had paid in taxes for your property. Does this make sense? Okay. Now let's not worry about that. Let's just take out the city tax right now. Just know that if we had it in there, we could take care of it. So basically, what is taking place now is my standard deduction from the federal government is $31,500. And this is if I am a married couple and we're filing our taxes together. Does that make sense? So I'm only looking for these people in here. Okay? So that means I now get a little bit more than the standard deduction because I have property tax in there as well, which now means if I add the 31,000, oops, I don't want that. I want a pen. If I wanted to do my 31,500, and we'll call it SD for standard deduction, and the $4,125, that was property tax. If I add those together, my taxable income is going to be lowered by $35,625. So wherever you fell in this range, you would basically, so if you fell in this range, the two of you are making between $206,700 and $394,600, what you would do is you would, whatever you had made here, you would subtract $35,625 from that because it's going to lower your taxable income. There's another place, there's certainly other places that you can do this. Have you ever heard those? Yeah, perhaps you've heard this. I don't know, maybe you haven't. Have you ever heard how you can donate a car? You ever heard about this? And you're like, why would I donate a car when I could just go sell it and get money in my pocket? So a lot of people will donate a car rather than going through the headache of taking your car to a dealership, trading that in for another vehicle, because the dealership is only going to give you a slight amount of money for your vehicle. It's not truly what the vehicle is worth. If you donate a vehicle, the nice thing is, let's say you had a 2010 Honda Accord. Someone tell me what a 2010 Honda Accord, find how much would that cost? Look for Kelley Blue Book value for a 2010 Honda Accord, and just pick one of the models. It doesn't matter which one. So Google Kelley Blue Book 2010 Honda Accord. Find it? Everyone find it? Kelley is K-E-L-L-Y, and Blue Book. So basically what the Kelley Blue Book is, that's what the manufacturers, they will sit there and figure out what a vehicle is worth. And it usually comes with a range if it's in poor condition, all the way into great condition, and anywhere in between. Anyone find the Kelley Blue Book value of a 2010 Honda Accord? Looking, finding, maybe. 2010. Yeah, it's old. Yeah, find the value. And give me the high value of it.
I don't have access to
9,500? Okay, cool. Thank you. So, let's say you donated a car, okay? And that's $9,500, okay? Now, if you donated a car, basically what happens, like you can donate, there's like, you can donate cars for kids. That's an organization that deals with child stuff. You can donate for veterans. That would money would go for the veterans. It could go towards, any number of things. There's plenty of places, I know that PBS and NPR also will allow you to donate cars. And basically, they will come to you, they will pick up your car, you just sign over your title, and you give it to them. Now, before you you slam me saying, why would I donate a car if I could take it to the dealership and they're going to give me $9,500 for it? Not really. The dealership is going to go through your vehicle and they're going to find anything wrong with it that's possible. And it could be, oh, your brake pads aren't quite up to specs, and that's $300 off that price. Your seals around your windows, they need to be resealed because it's kind of in a really dry climate. It's kind of worn out. That's going to cost you another $500. So they're starting to deduct off of it. So they're finding things that you're like, what? My windows go up and down, and when it rains or snows, water doesn't come to my car. Doesn't matter to them. They're looking for itty bitty things to bring down that value. And will the dealership fix it? Probably not. But they're just looking for things that might be wrong with your car to lower what that's going to be, and then they will give you that to give that to you on your trade-in. Now, the only time that they might go flat out saying, we will give you high Kelly Blue Book value for your trade-in on your car, they have already adjusted the price of the vehicle that you would like to buy. They've already adjusted it up, so they have some cushion room in there to say, oh yeah, we'll give you the full $9,500 for your 2010 Honda Accord, even though the brakes are bad, the windshield wipers are bad, and you have a cracked this, and you know, they'll get it, but they would have adjusted their price up before they started negotiating, because one of the first things a dealer will say to you as you are looking at a car is, do you have a trade-in? And if you say yes, they know they got you. Okay? So, the nice thing is if you go and donate a car, the car donation, you can claim the high Kelly Blue Book value on your vehicle to offset your taxable income immediately. Now, what like Cars for Kids or the veterans things they will do with a donated car is they will actually take your car, it will go on a mass auction block where people throughout the United States and perhaps even throughout the world could bid on your car to buy it. So it is possible at auction your car might go for more than $9,500. Okay? So if you were to donate your car, and let's say your car sold for $10,000, they will send you the tax receipt saying your car sold for $10,000. So now you can offset your taxable income by $10,000, not $9,500. Okay, but if they send you the receipt and they'll say, hey, we didn't get high Kelly Blue Book value for your car, we only got $7,000 for it, you don't have to offset your taxable income by $7,000 because you donated your car. You automatically get the high Kelly Blue Book value to offset your taxable income. So it's a fairly good place, but let's just pretend that they said $9,500 was high Kelly Blue Book value. I'm going to add that to here, and that's going to change 9,500. Now I can offset my taxable income by $45,125. Okay? So those are just a few places that you, because of doing things in life, can lower your taxable income, meaning you owe the federal government throughout the year or at the end of the year money. Now, I always look at it this way when my wife and I do our taxes. We always want to try and owe the federal government about $5,000. And you're like, you're crazy, sir. Well, a little bit. But here's the logic between it. The federal government will allow you to owe up to a certain amount of money on your taxes at zero penalty. And I look at it this way. I am getting to play with that $5,000, and I theoretically could take that $5,000, I could invest it into some sort of money market, CD, mutual fund, anything like that, or even just a standard savings account, and I can make interest on that money, knowing that that money, part of that money is going to go back to the federal government at the end of the year. So I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he was telling me how he, for whatever reason, always does his taxes late. they do an extension on his taxes. His taxes are so easy to do, but he just insists on always having an extension because, and he's like, yeah, I'm getting $7,000 back from the federal government. And this is how my wife and I look at that. My dad, in his case, getting $7,000 back from the federal government for last year's taxes allowed the federal government to have a $7,000 loan for free. So the federal government got to play with that $7,000, and then they're like, oh, we have to give it back. Whereas my wife and I are like, okay, we want to owe $5,000 because we get that $5,000 to play with what we want. Now, there's one last place that I want to talk about that, and this will play into Friday's lesson next week. There is something called a health savings account. Okay? And a health savings account is for medical insurance accounts that have a large enough deductible that a health savings account would qualify. Okay? And that kind of changes from year to year. You know, it might be $4,000 one year, and the following year might be $4,500, and the following year might be $5,000. I will tell you, me as an employee of this district, I have the high deductible insurance through the district, and I pay a small amount of money, and the district actually gives me money for my health savings account, which the neat thing about a health savings account is it rolls over each year. If you don't spend it one year, it rolls over into the next year, and then you can put a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Right now, you can put, I believe I saw it as $8,500. I will have it exact for Friday next week. But you can put $8,500, I believe it is, into a health savings account per family with high deductible insurance. And the nice thing is that $8,500 is my money. For anyone who has a health savings account, that is your money. You offset your taxable income by that as well. Okay? So let's just take a look at it for all intents and purposes. Will somebody look up what's the maximum I can, as a family, can I put into a health savings account for 2025? We'll call a health savings account HSA. Anyone find it? The maximum contribution into a health savings account as a family. What does it say? Anybody? Nobody? Somebody? Yeah, each year. 8550. Okay, I was close saying 8500. Sweet. Okay. So this means that I can add that to my, if I put $8,550 into it, I can offset my taxable income even more, which means now I'm going to lower my taxable income by this much money. Now, here's the beauty of, I mean, we're talking almost $54,000 that you, as a homeowner with a family with an HSA who donated a car, you can lower your taxable income. Well, think about it. Let's say you're somebody who made $400,000. Okay? If you go 400,000 minus this, or actually if I go 400,000 minus this, I'm no longer in the 32nd percentile, I'm in the 24th percentile. So I'm going to pay less in taxes with all of that, which is great. Okay? I mean, the big game, and this is a legal game, and it is the game that if you learn how to play it well, and you're not going to be in trouble, yes, you have to hold on to your tax returns for a certain amount of years because you could be audited, and the IRS will basically say, hey, you're going to be audited on this year. You provide that information, they go through it. The beautiful thing about an audit is they might say, hey, you made an error. We actually owe you an extra $3,000. All of a sudden, 3 weeks later, you got an extra $3,000. Okay? Or they might come back to saying, now here's the kicker. If you made an error and they owe you money, they will get you that money. If you made an error and you owe them money, they are going to put a penalty fee on you. So let's say you owed $1,000. They'll say, okay, you have to pay $1,050. Just hypothetically to us right now. We need to check for that right now. Or we are going to seize your house. Okay, and I kid you not, that's the game that they play. But if you do your paperwork and do your paperwork well, meaning you don't say, oh, let's just round that up to 54,000, that'd be so much nicer. Let's round that up to 100,000, that'd be so much nicer. You're going to get caught, and you're going to have a penalty, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so we're playing the game legally. That these are laws that are on the books that are legal for every person who files taxes to do. So with that known, if I'm lowering my taxable income, well, let's say that between my wife and I, we made $275,000. Okay, so our taxable income is $275,000. I'm going to subtract the $53,675 from it. Which means my taxable income is this. So let's just take a look. Where did this really put us? So we went to 275,000, which made us fall in here. Okay. Now it's at 221,000. So this was somewhere closer to this range. Now it's lower. So I'm going to pay 24% on the difference between 206,700 and 221,325. And then it's going to lower my taxable income as I go through. Now, you're going to hear this next week because we just said that $8,550 is the maximum that you can put in HSA. Yeah, there are some rules. When you turn 55 during that calendar year, you can add an extra 1,000 to that. So because I'll be 55 on December 30th, I can add an extra 1,000. So I can actually put $9,550 into my HSA, which is my money. Now, what that HSA is supposed to be used for up until I reach a certain age is I can use it to pay my deductible and any other health expenses for myself or my family. Okay? So this school district here, and you're going to hear me kind of rip on them a little bit, and I've talked to the people who have negotiated this. I've told them, lower how much I have to pay each month for my medical insurance, and don't give me, so right now this district as a single will give me $3,000 for my HSA. With a family, they would give me $6,000, but that means I can only add, as a family in this district, if my family is on this plan, I can only add $2,550 to my HSA, which means I can't subtract this $8,550. I can only subtract $2,550, which means that this is not going to be quite as big. And I've presented it to people that negotiate this stuff, and it's like, stop doing this. You're taking away the people's way of protecting themselves from taxes. And I kid you not, I was told this by the people negotiating. The teachers in this district are too stupid to figure that out, so we'll go ahead and take care of it. I kid you not, that was the exact verbiage that was used. And I'm just looking at them going, but you have teachers like me who do understand it, who would happily explain it to many other teachers. This is why we are not going to give you the $6,000. We actually are going to take $6,000 off of your health care costs, and you take care of your HSA now. And I could not believe that they told me that people in this district are too stupid to figure that out. I look at that as an absolute insult to every teacher in this district, and every administrator in this district. I mean, it just baffles me that they think that's okay. One, they think it's okay to say that. And two, it baffles me that they don't trust people to understand how to do taxes. They aren't hard. Yes, they might. The short form might take you an hour, hour and a half, maybe, to fill out and submit. And there are computer programs, like you might have heard of the thing called TurboTax. Okay, TurboTax's short form is free. It's a fillable PDF. You just start filling things in, and you take your paperwork saying this was sent to me from, these are my tax forms. Okay, so it says line D on form EE. This is form EE line D. Oh, type that in. Oh, okay. Now I need to look for line M in form W. Here's form W. These are all forms that get sent to you within the first couple weeks of January of the new year. Oh my gosh, how did I turn my phone off? Sorry. So that's those are just some really unique things. And this guy who I don't feel that I'm smart. I just have looked at the rules and I've looked at what is best for me and my family, and that's what I want to do. And it's kind of crazy, but how this HSA works? The HSA, in my opinion, is the best thing that came out of the George W. Bush administration. Okay, I'm not supporting any presidents, but George W. Bush, they put the HSA in place. It has gone along. It is a valuable thing because medical insurance, as you will see next week when I show you how much people in this district have to pay for medical insurance, it's going to blow your mind. It's a ridiculous amount of money. But the price of healthcare continues to go up and up and up. That's just the nature of what's going on. We've basically publicized healthcare to allow corporations to make billions of dollars off of our healthcare. And unfortunately, there are some of your families might have had to deal with this. There are decisions that might have to be made. My father-in-law, my wife's dad, he has to have an artificial hip. So they're going to replace his femur, the ball joint of his right hip, and then they put a steel shank down his femur. And this particular surgery is not going to cost him anything because he's on Medicare. That's what old people get for insurance. But it's going to cost about $55,000 too. And he looks at it, he's like, why in the world would I want $55,000 surgery at 85 years old? But it's also like, well, it'll give you a better quality of life for your last years of life. But I'm 85 years old. He's coming, to his last years of being alive, and he looks at it as it's a waste of money to do that. But it's like, but you would be able to walk again without having the arthritis in your right hip so bad that you have to kind of like hobble now. Bless you. You will go from hobbling to upright and walking within 3 hours of having the surgery, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But I also feel he's kind of right to think that way I know that there was things, my Uncle Jeff was diagnosed just this past week with stage 4 cancer throughout his body, which isn't good. And I feel bad for him. And he's like, I don't want them to do chemotherapy, radiation, anything, because stage 4 is stage 4. It's bad. He has basically a 1 in 10,000 chance of surviving the treatment. And he's like, why would I have Medicare pay that much money to try and save my life when my last couple of years might be miserable? And I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm just as a person. I want to take care of people. I want to make sure people feel good. I want to make sure everything's taken care of. But until healthcare changes in this country to stop being a for-profit for the corporations, and I know I teach the medical class. Okay, and I'm a full supporter of people who want to go into medicine and be doctors and nurses and other medical care people. They're not the ones that are destroying the system. People that are destroying the systems are the billionaires that are running it, who are getting richer and richer and richer. Basically, sometimes they will deny people, no, we're not going to pay for that. It's like, well, that's a life-saving procedure. My sister, I have all kinds of sick people in my family. My sister, who has the worst case of Crohn's disease that you could ever imagine, she's had for 20 years now. She has an ileostomy bag, which basically means she has a small bag right here in which her waste goes into. So she doesn't have to use the bathroom like you and I would. She just has to empty out her pouch where her waste goes into it. There was a medication they wanted to put her on a couple years ago that was going to cost her $30,000 a month to put her on the medication. Yeah. Just imagine that, $30,000 a month. It's like, why in the world would a little tablet cost $30,000 each time? It's like, oh, the research that went into that. I get it. Drug development is a very large industry. My gosh, your guys' entire life, you have seen drug commercials on TV saying, hey, if you have hypothyroid mesothelioma, blah, 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 contact your doctor immediately to take this new ABC drug. Side effects of this drug, your eyeballs will fall out, your ears will fall off the side of your head, and flu-like symptoms. So you guys have been subjected to hearing these types of commercials your entire life. When I was a kid, we never heard these commercials. We had cereal commercials. It's like, hey, let's get Lucky Charms. Hey, let's get Bounty paper towel. Those are all things that I grew up, seeing on TV. Now it's just all of these. I don't know. And I get a kick out of listening to the side effects of drugs. Sounds like sometimes the side effects of the drugs are worse than the actual condition that you might have. So, but we are going to continue much further, and I'm going to pull up on next week school district, but I'm going to present it to you at some point in your life. You are going to have to make a choice on medical insurance that would work best for you. Okay? And there's all kinds of options, and they make it look confusing for a reason. They want you to pick the biggest, most expensive option, and they will just profit off you more and more and more, but I'm going to show you how to offset it. Actually, do you guys know Mrs. Thomas? She's one of our administrators here, assistant athletic director. She is going to come next week, and she's my evaluator, and she's like, you want to have someone from your department evaluate you, or you want me? I'm like, you want to learn about healthcare? She goes, yeah. I said, well, come Friday next week. So she'll come Friday next week. So, friends, don't come tomorrow. Sleep in. Have a great weekend. Take care of one another. Thanks for playing.